Right, so here we are in the final. Bant Nardoo versus Monoblue. The Bant Nardoo, I don't think has any way to go infinite. I don't even know if it's playing Hex Parasite, but let me get the list up in front of me so I can stop guessing. Oh, it's playing 4 Hex Parasite, okay. So it can do much the same thing as, oh, there is Hex Parasite. Much the same thing as the other version we were watching. Also has 3 Whisker Veil Forerunner, which you can activate with Hex Parasite, I guess. So double the reason to have Hex Parasite. It's definitely spammed out a bunch of mana here on the play. And here's Nardoo, which we know is going to resolve through just 1 open mana from Honor Bound. And we can draw, you know, 9 cards here if we want, putting some of them into play. And maybe we do want, you know, I don't know if it makes any sense to do it now rather than end of Honor Bound's turn or any other time, really. Bapis thinks yes, there is some reason to main phase it. I mean, I guess you get untapped lands and then you can cast sorcery speed things, so I guess it's pretty straightforward. And in fact, we did hit 1 untapped land right away. Maybe we want to cast this Luminarch Aspirant. No reach in Honor Bound's deck, obviously. His way to win is to put a large or largish flyer into play and attack you with it. So 2 Birds of Paradise and a Nardoo and a lot of cards probably make you feel fairly comfortable about going low here. Bapis down to 7 already. Still enjoying putting cards in hand. What have we seen? A Nardoo, a Whisker Veil Forerunner, a Luminarch Aspirant, the 2 lands that are now in play. Okay, Honor Bound does have an Ancestral Vision on suspend. I feel like I've said that several times today. Plays the Storm Drake. Tries to take Nardoo, presumably. Gives another trigger. But at least stops the madness to some extent, although the madness has kind of happened with 8 cards in hand and 6 mana sources and various other permanents. But it is true that Bapis put themselves to 7 to achieve all that, and now does not have access to Nardoo's ability. Didn't choose to use it again in response and go any lower. They do have another Nardoo, which again through 1 open mana is sure to resolve. Okay, Safekeeper pretty interesting. An interesting sequencing. They have the unsummon here. Would they point it at Nardoo? Yeah. So they could have chosen to play that the other way around, but they have a Spell Pierce and maybe they were baiting it. Definitely possible. They certainly, you know, did it very deliberately in a certain order. Okay, so good blocks available, but good attacks not available. I'm not sure what Honor Bound's plan here is. Definitely massively down on mana and cards. Ancestral Vision will help a bit with cards. I suppose the Hexproof, here he is, Stoic Sphinx, but that just trades with the Volatile Drake, although maybe, yeah, and your unsummons now don't really do anything because Sylvan Safekeeper has them on lock. So real pickle for Honor Bound, I would say. This Luminarch Aspirant is going to come down and start making one of these flyers bigger probably, and get another Nardoo trigger. It is Nardoo itself that's getting buffed. Oh, we're attacking. I mean, we've got 7 cards in hand and Nardoo's to spare, I guess, so why not? Honor Bound, happy to work through the Nardoos one by one. Here presumably is another Nardoo. Nope, just a Birds of Paradise. That's kind of an interesting attack. I mean, I guess if you feel you're ahead, trading a good resource for a good resource just fine. So down to one card in hand, and this looks like it's getting... Oh, Spell Queller. So one of the differences in the Bent version, apart from Luminarch Aspirant, is the presence of Spell Queller. One card remaining for Honor Bound, but he does have the Ancestral Vision ready to go. So we chose to Spell Quell Tempest Djinn, not Ancestral Vision, because Tempest Djinn is, you know, pretty close to lethal. Okay, so now Whisk of Veil can be targeted for either 2 life or the sacrifice of a land, both of which are resources Bapis has to give to some extent. Whisk of Veil 4 and it only works the first time, the first time each turn. And they revealed Birds of Paradise, I think. Okay. So the volatile Stormdrake is now big enough to attack, although the swing back from Nadu, I don't know, I guess these Birds of Paradise are pretty expendable. You know, sack of Birds of Paradise, gain 3 life. It's maybe okay. Here's Meddling Mage, naming Ancestral Vision. Presumably. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. So unless the last card in hand is... Well, even if it's the Unsummoned because of Sylvan Safekeeper, this Ancestral Vision is doing nothing, and it all looks very, very dire for Honor Bound. He would love to sneak in this last 5 points of damage, but it seems nigh on impossible. 2 cards in hand. Misses the land drop. Yeah, Bapis is getting to the point where he can just kind of attack with stuff. And, you know, the card advantage is just going to crush. Or just build up one big volatile Stormdrake. Now, okay, and Honor Bound has seen enough. Now, does volatile Stormdrake's hex proof? Okay, so you can give it Shroud with Sylvan Safekeeper once you control it. Okay, that's pretty brutal. Looked like Honor Bound sort of stumbled a little bit in a weird way there. You know, tapping 1 mana for either Serum Visions or Ancestral Vision on turn 2 is a bit odd. But I guess if you have no mana leak, it's better use of your mana. I don't know. Definitely got. Whisk of Veil, Forerunner, Luminarch Aspirant, Spell Queller, and Meddling Mage all looked really good there. All obviously not in the blue-green version. But it was really Hex Parasite Nadu that did the thing, same as in the blue-green version. Okay. Oh, we have Giganta as a companion in this deck, just getting every possible broken advantage. The more modern banned cards, the better. What about on the play? Does he have an Ancestral Vision? Does he have a Serum Visions? No vision of any kind. Dark Glasses on. Nothing doing. Snarl into Birds of Paradise, pretty much ideal. But on the draw, that does not let you sneak a Nadu past a mana leak. So, see what Bapis has here. So that they showed for the Snarl is a tap land. Irrigated farmland. Okay, so before playing land Hex Parasite, then plays a land. Pippin. So this deemed worthy of a mana leak. And yeah, with no Ancestral Vision, no Serum Vision, presumably some 2 mana spell worth having. It's interesting, Hex Parasite was not deemed worthy of a counterspell. Doesn't do anything without... Oh, so here's Mu Yanling, which I thought was one of the cards that differentiated the other top 8 mono blue deck from this deck, but I guess maybe in the sideboard there's a Mu Yanling. So this is a win condition, makes 4/4s but not right away. Can make something lose flying. It does target on the plus, which is a little awkward. But on a bound, maybe just thinking they need to deploy a threat. I mean, this is really an invitation to resolve a Nadu, pump some amount of life into it, gain insurmountable advantage, just the same as we saw in game 1 here. But if you don't got the counterspell and they jam anyway, you'd be pretty sad that you hadn't played your Mu Yanling, I guess. So, could be correct to jam. Does at least attack favourably into Nadu once you've got the 4/4. Though the 4/4 will be summoning sick next turn, so it's a little slow. It's a 3-mana planeswalker. It doesn't make you breakfast, but yeah, 4 cards each, sort of reasonable but not terrifying boards on both sides. Looks like no Nadu. Presumably we would slam a Nadu here. But you can't always have Nadu, I guess.
Can't the Hex Parasite just eat the Mu Yanling?
Oh, right. It removes any counter, up to X counters. Yeah, so one option here is just to spend your turn saying, actually, you don't have a Mu Yanling. And attack you for 3. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you know, compared to slamming a Nadu, that probably suits on a bound, but yeah, I did not twig that. Yes, this is why. Okay, so this Ratchet Bomb is going to deal with, you know, be a nice little 2-for-1 on layaway. I think we kind of know there's no Nadu here, so just have to be some non-1-drop play. Could be a Fauna Shaman into a Mana Leak. Could be... Okay, well, either we drew a Nadu or I know nothing. Either way. Okay, and it does get Mana Leaked. Oh, the Hex Parasite can eat the counter on the Ratchet Bomb. Let's just be fully aware of what this card does. Yeah. So, is there ever a way to sneak it past? No. So, it is going to cost 2 life and a mana, or 2 mana, one of which must come from the birds, every turn for the rest of the game to keep this Hex Parasite alive, which is maybe not great. But, if they want to do it, they can do it. Here's a Hexproof Giant Flyer to try and make dirty stuff not good. Run afoul, just perfect. Presumably eat the counter before we pass to your turn and hit you for 2. We're paying life. Interesting that we're paying life, but I mean, you know, if you've got a 3-drop, then you would pay 2 life to have a mana for that. In for 2.
I think maybe Baptist forgot that Birds of Paradise has a hidden mode of being able to tap for black mana.
He thinks it's a Bant Birds of Paradise. Or maybe he wants to be able to do it end of turn again. So he might as well have Birds of Paradise up for this activation in case it needs to block a hasty blue creature. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I mean, it's possible Baptist doesn't... No, Baptist for sure knows what... Yeah, no, here we go. So yeah, just exactly what we said. I mean, maybe they had 3 mana of interactive stuff they might want to do, or who knows. This is a pretty funny battle, Hex Parasite versus Ratchet Bomb. What a funny little game. Really unlike the first game where, you know, huge advantages were reaped. Instead, we're both on one card and some piddling permanents that don't do very much. I wonder if we should have put Gigantha in hand. I mean, we don't know what the last card is, of course. Could be an all-important instant speed something. Maybe the reluctance to tap the birds for black is to do with wanting to be able to pay for a mana leak for the one card you got in hand, etc. Run of Fowls, double Run of Fowls is pretty great for not dying while you're not doing very much. And Nardu at some point could crack this wide open, assuming On a Bound's last card isn't, I guess, forbid. So Meddling Mage going to name Forbid. Stoic Sphinx. Oh, Vidalcan Shackles. That's a good name. Yeah, that would cause trouble right here. That card, so it makes sense.
Vidalcan Shackles has 0 counters on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're not going to be naming Helix Pinnacle. Actually, Helix Pinnacle probably has hexproof or something, but nothing with counters. Okay, so now you've got to pay quite a lot of life to keep these guys. No, I guess not. It's still only 2 per turn cycle, isn't it? Is it? Yeah. 3 mana and 2 life with the current board. At least we have some attackers now. Oh, so that's pumped up the volume on the attackers. Who are you putting your counter on? Meddling Mage, I guess. Hex Parasite being too important here. Okay, no chance of the Flash Flyer with 3 mana open, so fair enough. I thought this deck had Malcolm in it, but maybe it doesn't, or maybe it's been sided out. Haven't seen one. Let's check the tape, I guess. No, no Malcolm. It's the other mono blue that made the top 8 that had Malcolm. So this is a little force to be reckoned with now. I mean, this is, you know, 1, 4, 5, 6. We're taking to 6 next turn. So On a Bound, whatever his last card is, it's obviously not, you know, it's either reactive or a land or something. So gonna need something, otherwise he's gonna die to these sort of mediocre beats. Can't be Vidalcan Shackles. The unsummon is just meh. The Volatile Stormdrake, you could take Hex Parasite and then deploy your Ratchet Bombs. I'm not sure if there's time for that with Luminarch Aspirant going ham. Right. Oh, so did we get one off for 1 here? Okay, so we allowed the Hex Parasite and the birds to die on the basis that we've got our plan to win in 2 turns in the form of Luminarch Aspirant and Meddling Mage and Spell Queller. So this is 7 power. The Ratchet Bomb is too slow. On a Bound has 2 cards left. Could be highly relevant, could be islands. Cranks up the Ratchet Bomb. Okay, so we do have the ability to swap. I'm going to just swap for a different flyer. So it seems like counter on Volatile Stormdrake, attack the 2 creatures with 3 toughness is pretty good here. I suppose.
Yeah, the problem is, if you don't kill him this turn, then the Ratchet Bomb will clear.
No, the Ratchet Bomb will only go up to 2 next turn, and then has to untap to clear. So I don't think it's fast enough. But an unsummon on the Stormdrake or something with the last card could really change that. No, it goes to 2, in fact. So I'm not sure what we can draw here. Mass Bounce or Gigantha goes to hand. Threatening, I don't know what. And when we've got a chump on the biggest thing, and then we take 5. We've got play another blocker, block the 2 biggest things, take 2. Also no good. So I think both cards are going to have to do work here. No. And there we go. So Bant Nadu takes down... Oh, Vedalken's Shackles in hand. What a great name with Meddling Mage that was, yeah. Okay, so Bant Nadu staking its claim. 2 Nadu decks in the top 8. And that is this season 37 Penny Dreadful kickoff. Some great games, really complicated. I think I might not be smart enough for this season. I'm going to try and Dark Ritual out World Gordy Dragon on turn 1 or 2 and hope that it's good enough. Anyway, thanks for playing, listening, watching, etc. Cheers.